In order for you to get a job, people ask you they would like for you to have Canadian work experience. And you can't get Canadian work experience unless you get a job. In the experience that we've had over the years, we've come up with some solutions that can get you close to that. Like being able to follow instructions, the most basic thing that I would imagine any employer wants from you. And if you can't follow that, if you ask questions, if you say, hey, I don't understand, can you explain that? That's fine. The person, the supervisor, employer will explain it to you. But if you just go away and do the wrong thing or not do anything at all, that could cause a problem. If it happens one time, it's okay. But if it happens over and over again, that could cause a problem. The easiest way to accomplish what we've been talking about is to do an internship. Okay, internship in our segment, in our industry, is considered doing work without pay, right? So your co-op is work with pay. So when you go to your co-op, the employer will pay you, will compensate you for the hours that you spend financially, versus an internship does not do that. You don't get paid for it. But majority of the time, you walk away with a reference letter. You get to put that on your resume. And hey, if you do great, that company might even hire you, right? So that's we've seen that happen quite a bit as well. If you are under the impression that, hey, I'm gonna work for free, so why won't they have me? I'll just go in and walk into any place and say I want to work for free for you, and they should. It's not as simple as that. There's cost associated with onboarding a new person, regardless of whether you're getting paid or not. It's not as simple as that. It's not just, oh, here's this work that we have and we'd like to give it to you to do for free. With these two individuals that I'm going to interview, I'm going to ask them to wear a certain hat as they're doing this. Dr. J, if you could wear the hat, and of course, that is your role, but I know you have other experience, so I'm trying to narrow it down so you speak from one angle only. Same thing with Sohail. From an academic perspective, right? So from an instructor perspective, an instructor of a vocational college. So as you guys know, basically he is the top dog, if you will, when it comes to instructors. So he's your instructor's boss, if you will. So he's, from that perspective, from that point of view, he's going to answer these questions. And then Sohail, if you could come in from an entrepreneur business owner's perspective, right? So when I ask the questions, and I'm gonna start with Dr. J. So if someone is thinking about going in and working as an intern for any company, right? So they want to go in and work for whatever, doesn't matter what kind of company it is. Do you feel that they need to have a certain skill set, or should they go in without any experience and expect to learn on the job?
I will say this. They should have a skill set. They should come in to an internship with a set of skills that they can hit the road running. And that's very important for any enterprise that is looking for an intern to function for them. And to allude to that, what Jamak said, there is cost to onboarding an intern. Whether you're an intern or whether you are a new employee, there's always a cost, and the cost is training or retraining. So when you are in school, and the curriculum that the school provides you has been trialed and tested by industry. We get subject matter experts to validate what the curriculum is. So what you are really learning is you're learning what is wanted in the industry, what is needed in the industry, and your instructors come with background from training in those industries that will guide you to acquire the skill set you need to go out and function almost immediately as you hit the road running. So it's not going to be easy. It's tough. And I would say one of the major habits that you must have as a student now is the minute you plan to get into a particular trade within the vocational scope of life, say for example you want to do interior design, read as many books you can pertaining to interior design. You know, aside from what the school and the instructor can teach you, go out, show the interest, show the effort, pick up new techniques that maybe even your instructors don't know, and bring that out into class. And ask your instructors, would this technique work, you know, in the industry? If yes, how? If no, why? Right? So begin to ask questions. That is your first step to success. By prodding, by investigating, by asking questions. Sitting down in class by itself and not asking questions and not participating, and your instructors are there who have got behind them 10, 20 years, some even 50 years of experience, you know, they can guide you. They can guide you. I give you an example. One instructor that I speak with regularly is Lin. He's not teaching now, and for many of you guys who've been in Lin's class, you know the wealth of experience he has for the industry. He guides you. He tells you, and you just have to follow the process that he guides you through. And when you get out, when you graduate and you go into an internship and you go into an interior design agency, you know exactly what to do because you are no longer green, but you have got some level of experience that's been inculcated in you. So to answer the question, what Jamak say, yes, you do need some skill set and you do need quality skill set. Yeah, okay, good.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, when you are looking at an intern comes to your doorstep. How do you go through the interview process? Or let me rephrase that. Through the process of deciding whether or not to keep this person. How does that differentiate? How is that different from when you're looking at an employee? In other words, are you still expecting them to supply a resume, a cover letter? Would you still interview them, or is it different?
It is different, for sure, but I still want them to provide me with resume, cover letter, and all their experiences. The thing that I'm looking into, like the difference between looking at a person that I'm going to hire as opposed of an intern, is that I actually look at intern as an investment rather than anything else. So I'm expecting to train them a little bit, but I don't want to take somebody that is completely empty and try to fill him or her up with the experience. I expect them to know some experience and I expect them to have some transferable skills, but I'm not going to be so scrutinizing on things that I need for a person that I hire. As an example, if I want to hire, let's say, somebody who does the programming for me, and if it is not an intern, I will ask about every single experience that they indicated in their resume. I will think twice when I am deciding what I want. If there is something that I want and it is lacking, that candidate is automatically out. But for an intern, I am willing to give a little bit of leeway here and there. I'm expecting them to kind of invest their time, and I'm investing my time in order to make them a better candidate. So hopefully, if the intern at some time, it levels up his or her experience with whatever I want, then that could be a potential person that I would like to employ. But so I guess the simple answer to your question is that I would be easier on the interns than I am on the people that I am interviewing to give them a position. But it doesn't mean that I will accept anyone.
Okay, before I go back to Dr. J, let me do a follow-up on something you said. You said, I look at an intern as an investment. Could you please explain that a little bit?
So this is the way that I am looking at it. If somebody is willing to work for me without getting paid for a while, if there is a position coming up, I would give them the first priority before anybody else, because they were willing to give me some time and work with me with the hope that there might be a position coming up. And for me, I invested some of my time training them the trade of the business that I am in. So if there is a possibility that I hire someone, I would go to my interns first before I go to anybody else.
Thank you very much. Dr. J, the next question is, looking at the ITD Canada curriculum, regardless of the program that we're in, right? Whether it's IT, arts, hospitality, business, it doesn't matter. Regardless of that, is there a minimum level of education that you recommend that for the individual to have before they start to look for an internship? If yes, what is it and why? So in other words, would you recommend for someone who's brand new, day after orientation in graphic design, for them to go find an internship in graphic design, or would you suggest that they wait until a certain time? If so, when, and the explanation behind it, please.
Okay, this is what I would say. When one begins to register for vocational school, one must demonstrate that one has got some interest in a particular set of study to acquire skill set within the scope or space of the interest. Give you an example, okay? Surya was using programming. So let's say if someone who is fresh out from school enjoys playing animated computer games, and can somehow rather do some basic coding, and believes that he cannot get into university, but he loves coding, so he's got some skill set with him, and he meets certain requirements to enter into a vocational institution to further his skill set in programming. Now that person may be a good fit because he's got a passion, he's got the interest, okay, and he can demonstrate the interest, and he shows that he's willing to learn further. Now that would be a very good candidate to pull into maybe system programming, system development, right? And to train them, because for the instructors who are going to train them there, he would not be a total blank slate of paper, but he will be able to develop more skills in coding, in programming, in system architecture. That's what he'll be able to do. And that would demonstrate how well he would succeed in his entire course. So when he goes into the workforce after he graduates, he would be a superstar, because why? There is passion behind what he learned, and he applies that passion when he leaves his programming courses, and I think passion plays a great role here. So when you get into a vocational institute, make sure you come in with passion to learn first the skill that you want and grow from the skill, because passion becomes your next key to success. If you were going to learn something that you do not like at all, for example, my mother put me in baking class. I hated baking. I hated playing with flour. I had flour all over my head. I didn't know how to beat an egg. I didn't know how to beat flour, but I was failing like nobody's business. And this is called Home Economics 101. I failed it, right? But when she put me into a course where I could look at numbers and play with numbers and understand logic, I loved it. Why? Because I had a passion and interest for it. So likewise, for all of you guys who are now in a vocational institute, given that second chance in life, you're doing a course that you like with passion, you will succeed. So you must have passion behind you, and you must move forward with passion, because if you don't, you will not succeed. That would be my answer.
Awesome. What great advice. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Sohail, again, as a business owner, there's a challenge with international students, with all students, international students even more, and that's balancing time and money, right? Most people don't have enough money, so they come in here and they have to have a job in order to put food on the table, to be able to pay their rent, their tuition, whatever it may be. At the same time, what we're saying here is, you should go work for free. It's an easy thing to say. It's difficult to achieve, right? I'm sure some people are thinking this right now. They're thinking, you're asking me to come to school, you're asking me to study, you're asking me in some cases to take care of a family, go to work, make money to be able to pay all this stuff, and now you're asking me to work for free too? How am I gonna do that? Like, I'm not Superman. I have to sleep at some point in time. So I understand that. So my question is, how do you suggest someone balances this out? In other words, from the perspective of a business owner, is there a minimum number of hours per week, per month that somebody needs to be available for you to, as you said, see it worthwhile to make that investment in them?
I personally, if somebody wants to volunteer or become an intern, it only is worth for me if they actually lock so many hours to work with me, and I'm going to be reasonable with them. I don't expect them to work like 40 hours and not getting paid. This is just unfair. But I would actually expect them to put at least, minimum of 5 to 10 hours a week here for me, because less than that, I wouldn't be able to actually give them any meaningful project, and it wouldn't be helping them doing anything. Apart from that, just to make a comment about what you said, Customs and Immigration Canada, CIC, has been very, very clear on this. And I know a lot of people, they just got in not having that. But CIC wants people to have 1 complete year of tuition plus 1 complete year of living expenses before they're getting the visa. If it hasn't happened for some people, probably it would have been an error and it should have been caught, but this is the requirement. I guess CIC also wants people to be able to get acquainted and to the society, and it takes some time. So for that time, they want them to have enough money. Having said this, with whatever that we discussed, I would like people to give me at least 5 hours a week before, I want them to commit to 5 hours a week before even considering them being to bring them on board. Less than that, it wouldn't be beneficial to them, and it wouldn't be beneficial to me. If somebody shows up like once every 2 weeks and they put 30 minutes, what am I going to teach them, and what are they going to do? So there should be a minimum thing. On the same token, I am not suggesting that people should work 20 or 40 hours for free. It's just unfair.
Last question, quick answer, please, Dr. J. We require, and any other person that would get an intern would require for them to have a resume and a cover letter. But obviously somebody who's fresh, they're just starting out, would not have a fancy resume, a cover letter. What do you think is, again, briefly, the absolute minimum that a candidate would need to have, again, from an academic, from a trainer's perspective, on their resume cover letter before they apply? Sohail, I'm going to ask you the same exact question if you want to start thinking about it, because we're short on time. Go ahead, please.
I think in order for you to stand out on your resume, for many of us who are not graphic design experts, okay, is to have a good letterhead that demonstrates your name and a small slogan that demonstrates your skill set almost instantaneously. That should jump out from the first cover letter that you send, or the letter that you write to get an interview. You have to really position yourself well, think clearly, position yourself well, and develop that. And I think that's the only way you can succeed, because you must be marketing oriented, you must be marketing savvy in order to capture the audience that you want to capture. You have to know who you're writing to and what you're writing and what your skill sets are. So you have to really put this concisely in a very nice graphic manner and send it out.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sohail?
Sure. So I have been saying it on multiple occasions. You have only 30 seconds to win my heart, regardless of whether I know you or not. If I don't know you, it's really hard. So if you have a resume that cannot catch my eye, you're losing your chance. And I'm telling you, like I have positions and sometimes I get 800, 900 resumes and I really would like to go through all of them. If I just look at the resume and I spend like literally 10 to 20 seconds and I don't see what I need to see, you're gone. So not having a resume that basically tells all your skills is a mistake, in my opinion. As an entrepreneur who hires and fires people all the time and goes through the resumes, I need to see what I want in the first 10 seconds. If I know you, I may give you another 10 seconds, but 20 seconds is as long as you have to basically catch my eyes. So it is very crucial, very important to have resumes that list all your skills so I can figure out what I want.